My name is Melanie Onsescu. I'm one of the staff sergeants with the Calgary Police Service Child Abuse Unit. I'll read a prepared statement and then answer any questions following. The Calgary Police Service is seeking public assistance to identify a man believed to be responsible for 2 separate sexual assaults where youths were touched sexually without consent in Fish Creek Park. At approximately 7 p.m. on Sunday, June 11th, 2017, a 16-year-old male was riding his bike on a pathway in Fish Creek Park near the community of Evergreen. He briefly got off his bike to take a break when an unknown male approached him and began a conversation. The man began asking inappropriate questions and then proceeded to sexually assault the teenager. The victim was able to get back on his bike and ride away to safety. 2.5 weeks later, on Thursday, June 29th, 2017, at approximately 6:50 p.m., a 15-year-old male was riding his bike through Fish Creek Park close to the Marshall Springs exit when he was approached by an unknown man. The man engaged in the teenager in conversation and then proceeded to sexually assault him. The victim was able to push the man away and ride to safety on his bicycle. The investigators believe that these 2 incidents are likely connected and are looking for the public's help to identify the offender. Both assaults occurred in close proximity to one another. The suspect is being described as Southeast Asian, 25 to 35 years old, 5'7" to 5'10", with a slim build and a haircut that was short on the sides and medium length on top. In both cases, the suspect was traveling on a black and blue mountain bike. In the first incident, he was wearing shorts and a dark blue running. He was wearing gray shorts, a dark blue shirt, runners, and a blue and yellow helmet. In the second incident, he was wearing blue jeans, a short-sleeved blue shirt, and black runners. It is also believed that the suspect had an accent. Anyone with information regarding these incidents or the identity of the suspect is asked to contact police at 403-266-1234 or Crime Stoppers anonymously. Any questions?
Are you able to speak a little bit more to specifically where they happened? Because I actually grew up in Evergreen, and the pathways and Fish Creek is all intertwined with the communities in some areas.
Right. So it was described, I don't know if the Marshall, where is it? Marshall Springs exit was described as one of them, but my understanding is that there is an Esso near that entranceway.
And so the one in Evergreen, what you're saying occurred near
They both occurred in that area. Very, yeah.
Are you speaking, were there witnesses? Are you speaking to them? Are you looking for CCTV? Is there any of that?
We're doing all of those things, yeah. So unfortunately, we don't have any witnesses separate from the victims. So that's why we're seeking the public's attention or assistance in trying to identify this individual.
Is there any CCTV at the park?
The investigation's ongoing, so I can't speak to what evidence we have collected.
Could you clarify or be more specific what you mean by Southeast Asian?
I knew that would be a difficult question, but that's how the victims described the individual. So again, we're dealing with young victims, and that was the descriptive term that they used.
How big of a concern is this that, I mean, these teenage boys should be able to use the park by themselves without an adult, and they're being grabbed and assaulted allegedly by a stranger?
Right. It's always concerning when anyone is a victim. You know, certainly when someone targets, you know, teenagers, children, whatever. It's always a concern to us. And unfortunately, that you know, you never want to say it's not safe to travel alone, but it's always recommended that you know, kids and even adults travel in pairs. There's always safety in numbers, if you will.
And you said you had no witnesses. Since these happened in June around 7, I'm assuming this is like still light outside, you know, and those areas are pretty popular. Is there, I guess, were these in, do you know if they were in isolated areas, or were, you know, what does it say about the suspect if they're going about this in daylight? And,
yeah, certainly. I understand where you're going with your question. Yeah. It's difficult. It's difficult to sort of comment on that, but I mean, it's a park. You know, our investigators have walked the path system, and we've spent some time down there. trying to establish and, you know, where this individual may have come from or have gone to. So yeah, it's concerning. It is a daytime event.
My question would be, forgive me, what does it say about how bold the suspect is that this is happening in a busy area, supposedly in daylight?
It's hard to say what it says about the individual, but obviously I'm here to identify this individual so we can address and deal with the situation appropriately.
Given that the person was on a bike, do you think that this could be a local individual?
Again, it's possible. My understanding from the park system down there is there are several path systems that lead to different communities. So could they be, you know, local, if you, as you guys describe, or could he have come from elsewhere in the city, having a bike that obviously increases his mobility?
Why did it take a couple of weeks for this public to become, or this information part to become public?
Initially, we had some leads that we were pursuing, so there was several investigative steps that we were taking, and then unfortunately, we've reached sort of a roadblock in terms of where we are, so that's why we're seeking public assistance at this point.
What kind of help is being provided by the CPS in terms of the victims?
Well, I'm attached to the Sheldon Kennedy Child Advocacy Center, and very fortunate to have, you know, supports in place for victims of any form of child abuse.
Anything else? You may have already said this, so forgive me, but are is CPS stepping up patrols in the area, like bike patrols and anything like that?
We've made those districts that are affected by it aware of the concerns that we have, yes.